Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everyone doing? It's Tuesday, everyone. It's Tuesday. How's everyone doing? How's life? Tell me everything. Hey, CJ. So excited to interview you soon. Yeah. It's going to be fun. Guys, I'm sorry I haven't been on for the last few days. It's been kind of a crazy few days for me. I've been traveling, but now I'm back. I'm back, and we are coming back with an amazing person that you're going to absolutely love, who's actually doing exactly what I want to do and what I'm hoping the show does, but in a much better way than I do. So, it's going to be fun. I promise that. You are going to love Drummond. Just speaking to him, you get joy immediately. Like, it's one of those, like there's still great people in this world. And so I am so excited to interview him. So he should be on soon, momentarily, and we shall get going. Guys, I went to Oklahoma City. Actually, Luther, Oklahoma. Yeah. Middle of nowhere. I had no internet. It was wonderful. I watched movies on DVD. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, he's on! Oh, who cares about my DVDs watching? Let's make this. I feel like something very special is about to happen. I hope it does. We'll see. But hopefully it says waiting. It says wait. The man, the myth, the legend!
Hello.
How are you, handsome? How's life?
Oh, I'm killing it. Starting the week off good.
I'm so proud of you. So I was just saying before you even logged on, I was saying I watch your stuff. I just talking to you, you're just joy personified. Like, that's what you are. And I absolutely freaking love it.
Yeah, I heard you right before I joined. You were saying I do it better, but that's not true. We're doing it in our own way, and we're killing it on both of our platforms.
We're trying, right? You started your positive talks back in September, right?
Yes.
So just a few months after I started mine. And tell me about it. How's it going? I'm kind of geeking out. I have to just admit, I'm kind of geeking out because I just adore you. I love what you're doing. And I love the way that you just put positivity out there and just who you are. It's just, I don't know. So tell me how you started. Tell me, or tell everyone how you started and why you started and all of that. Go.
Well, I think all of us, 2020 did not turn out the way any of us had projected it to turn out. And 2020 was supposed to be a really big year for me with collaborating with people for my YouTube channel, as well as doing stuff for all my social media platforms. And travel got canceled. For a little bit, I was kind of bummed out about it. I was just like, you know what? 2020 is not so great. And I asked my friend Jenner if he'd be interested in doing a positive talk live with me. It was just out of the blue. I was like, I would love to do something. I asked myself what the world needed more of, what I wanted to see more of. And I was just like, positivity would be nice to see it on social media because, right. My feeds were just blowing up with lots of negative stuff. So I decided to kind of combat that and so I added positivity back to my feed and everyone that followed me. So it just grew from there. And now I've got people asking to do them with me instead of me begging people to come to my platform and do them. So it's kind of exciting.
Listen, I think, 2020, not only because of the pandemic, but politically, everything, we were just so divided, right? And the one conversation that anyone can have, no matter what you are, who you are, what you believe in, we can all be, I guess, excited about positivity, about love, about wanting to just cherish people and love people and putting, and you just did it in such a cool way because, you inspire me all the time because I see your stuff, your content, and I'm just reminded of how just being authentic and how just being a beautiful version of yourself can really change the world. And I feel like you're really changing people's lives. Are you seeing that?
It's crazy because I think that it's not only changing the people's lives that are like watching, but also mine. Like stepping into my authenticity and choosing to be vulnerable online has really just opened up so many doors for myself, for seeing myself in new ways. And I mean, the conversations that I have, the thing that I love about them is it's showing the world like the most authentic side of all these people that I really care about. Because a lot of times people will make quick judgments based upon a picture or a text message online. But when you see people having real conversations, it's a lot easier for you to realize that we're all people. We're all struggling through life day to day, just like everyone that's watching. And it's nice to kind of be able to show that online because we all need to stop comparing ourselves and live our most authentic life.
Comparison is the thief of joy, because the reality is as we compare ourselves to others, we're not seeing the whole picture no matter what. I don't care if you're actually even best friends with someone that you're comparing yourself to. You don't know the whole picture. And it's like I've seen this thing on, line for years where it's a picture of a beautiful apple, right? And it's showing the camera like taking the picture of the apple. But in the back of the apple, the part that you don't see, there's a big bite taken out of it. And there's a worm coming out of it. And I feel like that's what we do. And one of the things that I'm recognizing, as you just said, is comparing yourself is the thief of joy. And who doesn't want to be joyful? Who doesn't want to wake up in the morning and go, thank you, God, universe, whatever you believe in, for giving me this one more day to experience life. And you miss out on that when you compare.
Yep.
I mean, I will tell you that I've compared myself to you. It's not pretty. It's not pretty.
Don't do that. I mean, I hope that my content, when people watch it and follow me, that I inspire them to go out and be their most authentic self, to do exactly what they want to do. Because I was talking to my friend Eric this morning, and I've honestly been having so many moments of where I'm just sitting here crying because so many opportunities have been presenting themselves to me that if I wasn't showing the world my most authentic self, the person I really want to be, these opportunities wouldn't be coming into my life. And I think that a lot of times we pretend to be something that we're not, or we try to be someone else, and we're bringing things into our lives that don't align with who we are. And I've been working really hard to just present my best self, my most authentic self. And everything that I've been wanting to come into my life and happen has been happening. And I just like my eyes just fill up with tears every single time. It's a little bit overwhelming sometimes.
It is. I mean, but what I love about what I'm hearing you say in that is gratitude, and I love the little saying that I say all the time, but who's more grateful, the man with $5 million or the man with 5 kids? It's the man with 5 kids, and you know why? Because he doesn't want any more.
That's great.
Gratitude is having what you have and not wanting any more. And I think when you are in a place of gratitude, it's very hard to not find joy in that. Because, and I love that. I love that you are a prime example. Like, you're kind of the poster boy that we can show people and go, when you're grateful, when you don't compare, when you're your authentic self, look what can happen. I mean, it's so flippin' cool. It's so cool. I mean, sitting here talking to you, like, I've talked to celebrities and, all types of people on here, and I was most nervous about this conversation.
Oh,
I really was. I really, really was, because you're just one of those guys that, like, when someone is so real, it challenges. There's no way you can't be real, right? So it's like, oh crap, what's going to come out of me when I talk to him? Like, ooh, I might start confessing things I probably don't want to confess.
I love it.
Now, question for you. Where do you live? Where are you in the world?
I am currently in Virginia. So I'm moving here in a month to Richmond, Virginia, so I'll be in the state capital. Super excited because you were talking about where you had just visited, didn't have any internet.
Yeah.
Where I
I'm
currently
sure.
live, I have zero internet when I'm at home. So when I go home, I'm completely disconnected from the world. So I'm excited about moving to a city and actually having connectivity.
Now, why did you choose Virginia? Are you from Virginia?
Yes. So I
Okay.
left for 11 years and came back. Life just kept tossing me around, and I really kind of sat down and asked myself, like, what I really loved, and like my family is really important to me. So I think I was running for a long time because my dad is not accepting of me being gay. And I was running from that, which prevented me from staying here in Virginia because I felt like I needed to run from it. And when I turned back around, I realized that I also was leaving my family that I love 100% behind while I was running from him.
Do you feel like, it's interesting because obviously, being gay myself, I am very fortunate that I had a family that was just open arms. Like, actually, they would have been upset if I were straight, like, that type of. And so I can't relate, but I feel the pain. I feel the pain because I've had people, not my father, but I've had people not accept me or love me. And I put that all on myself. It's my fault. I could have said something, done something, differently. Do you put that on yourself, or have you recognized that that is your father's issue?
Yeah, I think that in the beginning, that was something that I was very angry. It wasn't that I was putting it on myself. It was just like I allowed the way he felt about me to impact the way that I felt towards him and other people who didn't accept me for being gay. And it was a long journey to realize that that was only hurting me. I was the only one struggling and not thriving in life because I was so focused on their hatred towards me. So when I kind of got rid of that and didn't allow that to be something that was sitting on my shoulders anymore, it was definitely a freeing experience.
Do you feel like, it's funny because all those quotes, all those cliche quotes of like being angry at someone is like, wanting to kill them, but drinking the poison yourself because it doesn't affect them. Like your emotions, your feelings don't affect other people, like, and vice versa. But do you feel like your father's, do you feel like his hatred, because you used the word hatred, do you feel like his hatred or his dislike or whatever comes from just a lack of knowledge, or do you think it comes from a lack of wanting to have that knowledge?
Uh, I would say that his, so my dad doesn't communicate at all. So I'm trying to guess where his comes from would be very, very hard for me just because there's no communication. It's just like that sheer disconnect. We never were strongly connected, even when I was younger. But when I came out, there was an even stronger disconnect. So I,
How
I,
old were you when you came out?
I was almost 19 years old when I came out.
So you're pretty young. I mean, you were still a teen. Like, that's a pretty young age. And to experience a father denying a son like that must have been awful.
Yeah, I was very thankful that my grandparents were very accepting, which were his parents. They were actually doctors during like the AIDS pandemic in the 80s, and they were very, very familiar with gay people. My granddad was actually a doctor that he refused to wear like the hazmat suits. He went into the patient's room and actually worked with them. There's like a VHS tape my grandmother gave me where he talked about how dressing like that made people feel even more or even less human than the disease was making them. And he said he didn't want their last time on earth to feel like they were some type of like alien or disease. So my granddad was very open armed when I came out, and definitely scared me to death about catching anything that could be sexually transmitted, being that he kind of saw like the horrible states that existed in the 80s when AIDS was kind of running rampant.
Yeah. I still, it's first of all, what an incredibly beautiful story. Like, what an incredibly beautiful legacy to have, and to know that your grandfather created that legacy of acceptance and love even before probably you were born.
Yeah.
Like, how is it to hold that legacy? To like, I mean, to be a gay man and be able to tell that story, like that's got to inspire you to much bigger heights than you even thought you could be in.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know about it. I didn't know his full involvement into it until about 2 years ago. I started working for the health department here in Virginia as a prep coordinator to kind of help advertise the prep program here in Virginia. And when I took that position, my grandmother actually shared that knowledge with me. So when I
What
first
was
came
that
out,
experience to hear that story for the first time for you?
it was really nice to know that even before I existed and I came out, that my granddad didn't pass judgment on people. My granddad was one of those people that he worked with people of tons of different religions and backgrounds, and instead of making any type of judgment, like if you look at his bookshelf, it is just like he has studied everything. Anything that was new, he wanted to know more about. Instead of passing judgment, he just wanted to understand it better. So my granddad was definitely a huge role model in my life, and I'm very thankful that he existed because he's passed down knowledge within me that I've absorbed without even realizing that I absorbed it. And it's definitely, I was extremely lucky to have him as a role model.
I love that. I have to ask you this, like, so and I kind of speak from personal experience as well, but I just kind of want to know what other people, you're putting out positivity, you're putting out, and there's always that one naysayer, right? Like there's always that one person that's like, oh, you're doing this wrong, or you're doing that, or you're this, or you're that, or, and how do you either deflect that, or do you absorb it and then let it kind of come out as more positivity? Like, how do you handle that? Because I think a lot of people today are scared to say anything because there is such a cancel culture. There is such a, fear of other people saying things. And so a lot of people are not using their voices out of fear of that. So I'd wonder, like, what kind of advice you would give, because we all have, you probably have one person out of 1.5 million, but how do you handle
Yeah.
that?
So when I first started growing pretty quickly, there was definitely a lot of people that were naysayers or picked me apart to find anything that I could have possibly said that could be twisted into a negative message. 2020 was an intense one for me just because I saw the movement for the Black Lives Matter happening. I really wanted to do something that would be helpful to the movement, but I was also very scared because of cancel culture. And I I really took a step back to kind of try to figure out how I could do that movement any good as a white male content creator online. And that's when I kind of realized that the message of positivity doesn't have boundaries like that. So I believe that when you really put your heart into your message, you've got to, the things that scare you are the things that you need to take time to understand. I definitely took a break off of YouTube because I didn't want to create content that completely distracted people from what was happening, but I also didn't want to create content that came from a very uneducated position on the whole movement. So I read a lot of books, and I mean, it was definitely something that I took very seriously. And the Black Lives Matter movement is something that I do have influence over because it's happening in the LGBT community, which is where my power of influence lies. So it just took a lot of really hard, uncomfortable conversations with my friends. I asked my friends to be honest when it came to my content, and I asked them to pretty much take everything I've ever done and just look at it under a microscope and make sure that I wasn't creating anything that was moving them backwards in any way. And it was definitely a moment of learning. I think that it's important, even with like media outlets like the news and magazines, just taking a step back and instead of trying to be the first on the story, make sure that you are the most educated and the most knowledgeable about the content you are putting out so that your brand doesn't get tarnished when things kind of get flipped and you realize that you put something out that wasn't the most educated or factual information. And I mean, for me, I delete negativity. I don't allow it to be in my comments, which now that my platform's growing is a lot harder. I just ask people that follow me if they see it to point it out to me in my messages, and I will go and get rid of it because I want my spaces to feel like it's a safe space for everyone. And part of that means taking a lot of time to filter through those hate comments that do pop up, unfortunately.
Well, and what I've learned is like when I've done some like deep diving into some of the haters, they don't even exist. They're not real people. They're not like, and I'll like sit there and I'll be like, I just allowed my entire day to be like muddled down by this one comment. I had 400 great comments, but this one comment, this one person, and I've allowed my entire day to be screwed up by it. They're not even real.
Yeah.
It's not even the person in the picture. It's not even the person, like, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, and so I love that you say that. I love that you're like, I'm not going to allow it. And that's the truth. You either allow it or you don't. And if you choose to not allow it, it will not exist.
Yeah. I mean, I allow my close friends to criticize me and critique my work. And those are the people that I pay attention to.
Well, that's different. I'm talking about haters,
yeah,
trolls.
So when it comes to those really, really negative comments, I mean, when you get to a higher frequency in life, I feel like you start to see past, I call it the hate mask. I think that people who post hateful comments are really miserable people, and I refuse to allow hate to hit me and go back out into the world. So I try to take it and absorb it. And I would rather them send that hate comment to me, someone who has heard it all and learned to kind of walk through it. I'd rather them hit me with it than someone who just came out of the closet and is not ready to hear that type of hate, because that can knock some people off the ledge. And I always try to remind people not to be hateful towards anyone, because I might have some strong disagreeing views to people who think differently than I do. But if I throw hate at them, they don't necessarily have to throw it back at me. They might throw it back at someone that really doesn't deserve it in the LGBT community. So I always tell people that if they see hate, grab hold to it, absorb it, heal it, and then put it back out as positivity, love, because
I love that.
If you send it back out into the world, you have no control over who that hits next, and you don't want it to be someone that it knocks them off the edge because they just weren't ready for that.
I love what you just said. Like, that's a whole movement in itself. I mean, that's a whole other Instagram live, talk. I mean, that it's just so powerful to think about that. Like, you are being responsible for that and absorbing it and sending it back out in love in a whole new way. Like, that is powerful, and that is beautiful. Who the hell taught you that? How do you know? How are you so smart? How old are you?
I'm 32. I will
like,
say
you're
that,
like Yoda. You are Yoda, but you're 32. Like, what the heck?
I think that it's just life experiences. I was very shy as a kid, and just watching the world go around and just watching someone say a hateful comment, and then instead of looking at the person that said the hate, I just watched the person that was absorbing it and dealing with it. And I can just see how it just hit them and just would boil down inside of them and just be absorbed in every part of them. So I'm very observant with the people around me and how their responses are to everything. I think that it's also important for us to look in ourselves to make sure that we are presenting our best selves in every moment. So when I do lives, I mentally prepare myself for any type of hate comments that could come up in my live and make sure that I'm in a state of mind that can absorb and heal instead of allowing it to impact me. Because, I mean, we all have bad days and we
Oh
need to
yeah.
understand ourselves well enough to say, hey, I am not in a good mood today to where I can absorb hate. There's a good chance hate's going to hit me today and bounce back out. Maybe I need to cancel this live. And just knowing yourself well enough to not put yourself in situations where you're going to do more harm than good.
You, sir, need to write books. You, sir, need to be on tour. You, sir, need to do TED Talks. Like, I mean, it's pretty amazing to me, like, the amount of wisdom you have. And I say wisdom. It's not knowledge. It's wisdom. You're wise. You really have been able to harness kind of this energy of positivity and figuring out exactly what are the ins and outs. It feels like you pulled it apart and put it back together, but you've never lost sight of it. And there's something really powerful about that. Like, it's very cool. What's next for you? So, like, first of all, are you a full-time content creator, or do you work
I,
at the Queen?
I'm definitely working on that. So I've been content creating for a very long time. I've restarted many times. I think I've rebranded myself to the point where I've found my brand, I've found my voice and my platform that I want to promote. Uh, I am making the leap from corporate America jobs right now. July 1st is my last day with my corporate job, and I'm jumping full-time content creating and life coach. So that's going to be my career from here on out. So I'm excited about it. It's a little scary, but I'm leaning into that and really allowing myself to feel that fear and asking myself what I'm scared of. And a lot of times it's just like you pull off the mask like in Scooby-Doo, and instead of it being a person, it's just like air. So I've learned that sometimes you just have to face your fear. And a lot of times, as soon as you pull off that mask, it's actually nothing there. It's just fear is a lot of times the biggest thing that prevents you from achieving exactly what you're meant to do. And lately, I've been really pulling off those masks and finding out that all the things that I've been afraid of here recently about really stepping into what I want to do has just been stupid things that I should have never been afraid of in the first place.
Everything you ever wanted is on the other side of fear.
It really is.
I mean, I use the surfing analogy, not a surfer, by the way, but when there's a huge wave coming at you and you're surfing and you know you can't conquer that wave, the wave is obviously fear. And the natural inclination is to swim as fast as you can towards the shore to get away from that wave. But the wave will always catch you. So the best way to conquer that wave is to go right into the wave so that you come out the other side. And that's fear. I mean, that is, you conquer fear. You go straight into the face of fear, straight into that big wave of fear. You will just come out the other side and you'll be able to see fear kind of pass you and attack everyone else.
Yep.
And, it's powerful. It's really, really powerful to hear you say that, like, yeah, I've had a corporate job, everyone. And now I'm ripping off the Band-Aid. What was that moment? Was there a moment for you where you went, yeah, this is it?
I feel like I've never given up on this dream of doing this. It's taken a while for me to realize that I could turn it into an income and a way to support myself. But I've tried it before and wasn't ready. I didn't have all the tools in my tool belt to make it a successful platform. But honestly, my corporate job, it downsized, and I was one of the 350 people that lost my position because of the downsize. And I felt different this time between corporate jobs, and I was like, you know what? Like, I've got the tools, I've got the knowledge, I've got the support and love from all the people around me that I've been meeting from doing lives like this or jumping into the Clubhouse app and speaking there. I think I finally got enough tools under my belt to be like, I know what I'm doing. This job that I currently have, I was a corporate trainer where I train leadership seminars, as well as like new hire and anything else that's within the company's walls. And I think that this was the last building block that I needed to kind of reach out and be like, you know what? Let's do it. I got it.
I absolutely love that. I love that. Because, I mean, the world, the universe, if you're willing to listen to the vibrations of the world, you can hear some pretty powerful, like, moments. You can hear some pretty powerful, like, opportunities for you. And it sounds like that's what you did. It sounds like you were aligned with your purpose and you were listening. And, you know, there's a reason we have 2 ears and one mouth.
Exactly.
You know, listen twice as hard as you speak. And it sounds like you kind of did that, which I'm like, you're inspiring. You're an inspiring person. And I, you know, again, we talked about comparison. Damn it, I compare myself to you.
I think that it's important for people to realize that our hearts are telling us exactly what we're supposed to be doing. I've always been an extremely caring person that has always wanted to help other people. And I've been told by everyone around me that that doesn't equate to income, that doesn't equate to a job. And I was just like, well, that's what I'm good at. That's what I love doing. And not everyone has that. I think we live with ourselves so much that we think that everyone just cares about the world. Everyone is kind. Everyone does this. But it's not true. The world does not have a lot of people that do that. And once I started to realize that, and a lot of people had pointed that out to me about myself, I started to realize that my heart has been telling me to do this for forever. And I never allowed it to be a thought in my mind because the world was telling me, you can't do it. And as soon as I stopped listening to what everyone else around me was saying and really listening to what my heart was telling me to do, like I leaned into it full force, and so many amazing things have been happening. And honestly, like this job ending, it was just like that last push I needed to be like, you got this. Stop being weak and stop depending on this corporate job to make your income. You can do it by yourself.
I love that. Well, listen, I love ending my interviews by telling the person why I love them and why I had them on the show. And so you get to just sit back and absorb some love.
Perfect. I'm not very good at that, but I will try my best.
Well, sorry. You said you would do the show, and this is what the show is. I've pretty much said everything that I do love about you, but I want to highlight them. You are authentic. You are real. You are loving. You are a man that is worth celebrating. And the reason you're worth celebrating is because you are putting out into the world things that are making this world not only just a better place, but a different place. And we need the world to be different right now. We need to be able to stand on the platform of love and positivity. And you're doing it so well. I mean, the reason I compare myself to you is because I see you doing things that are just soul quenching. They're soul quenching. Like you watching your interviews, they literally, it's like water to my soul. And I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful to be able to see that there is someone doing what I want to do so badly and doing it in such a beautiful way and doing it in such a great way that it's like there's room in this world for all of it and for all of us. I love just, you are, I don't know how else to put this, but you're just so, I guess brave is the word. You're so brave. You're so courageous. You have such an ability to create a space for people to be honest and real, but feel loved and feel cherished. And I am blown away by what you're doing, how you're doing it, And I cannot wait to see you just grow and grow and grow into the man that I know that God or universe, whatever, for me it's God, but that God has for you. Because I think that your name is going to be synonymous with some of the greatest game changers of our world. I think that in even just a short year, I think people will start saying your name and it will be synonymous with some greatness, with some world changing things that are happening. And I wanted to celebrate you. I wanted to celebrate what you were doing, and I wanted to just kind of flood you with some love because I'm just so proud of you, and I'm so grateful to be able to have an example of you in this world. And I put sending people your way, sending success your way, sending love your way because you deserve it all. So thank you. Thank you for doing the show, and thank you for just being a part of this.
Yeah, thank you so much for reaching out and doing it with me. And I appreciate everything that you just said. It's definitely weird to hear the words like bravery and courage and stuff like that, because for me, for the longest time, it just felt like the only way you could go through life was what I was doing. And a lot of people use those words. And to kind of go back to like the surf analogy, there was a lot of times where I just felt like the waves were tossing me around, and I never really felt like I was on the surfboard until here recently. So I appreciate everything that you just said, and definitely would love to do more with you in the future.
100%. You tell me, listen to me. You tell me if Drummond said to me, shit in your hand and wipe it on your face, I would do it. I would do it. I'd be like, there's a reason. There's a reason. I'm just going to trust him. Like, absolutely would love to.
Awesome.
Okay, mister. Well, thank you so much. I hope you felt loved. I hope you felt cherished because you're all those things. And I'm just so grateful that you did this. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Okay, my friend. I will talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.